Namaste, Satnam, and Flow. Welcome everyone to Lotus Flower Wellness Temple. I'm so happy to have everyone back today. And everyone is welcome here and loved. So thank you for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started with temple service today. So we always start out with our Sambujo chant. We do a sage burning, a little Reiki energy attunement, and so much great stuff is awaiting you. We're going to do some breath work, some meditation today. Today we're going to be discussing the balance between your masculine and your feminine to create the whole. And so I'm super excited. So I'd like to invite Quinn on up here.
All right.
Who's going to lead us in the Sambujo chant?
Yes.
Yes, let's get it going.
All right.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, we have soy wax and all that. So come on. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we're gonna keep moving on. You stay right where you are.
Yeah.
You're trying to- All right. Okay.
All right.
Give me your flowers.
Thank
All right. We respectfully welcome Amida Buddha to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. We respectfully welcome the Buddhas of all times and places to our temple as we scatter flowers of joy. Moving on now, we're going to go over the 6 paramitas. Giving.
Giving.
May I be generous and helpful. Guidance. May I be guided by the Buddhist precepts. Tolerance. May I regard the mistakes of others with sympathy. Perseverance. May I do my best in all things. Meditation. May I reflect deeply on my life through the Buddha's teachings. Insight. May I understand the meaning of Namu Amida Butsu. And then we have our Bodhisattva vows. So we're going to go ahead and get started with part 2. The many beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Greed, hatred, and ignorance rise endlessly. I vow to abandon them. Dharma gates are countless. I vow to awake to them. Buddha's way is unsurpassed. I vow to embody it fully. Excellent. Thank you so much, Quinn.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, you are so welcome, and thank you. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for coming. This means a lot to me, and I'm doing what I'm very passionate about, which is helping and healing people and helping people be guided back to their own personal truth and finding joy and happiness in their life now. So there are ways of thinking and just really simple kind of aha moments when you realize those, you can start to make little shifts and changes that really do affect your life on a grand level. And so being aware of those really can give you a real good shot at having some happiness and really finding your soul's path and purpose here in this lifetime. And that's my passion and my joy.
Hello.
Hi guys. Great, wonderful. We're having temple service right now. There's a live feed going on YouTube right now, so you're more than welcome to join if y'all want to. We're going to do some breath work, meditation.
Thank you so much.
Yes, today we're talking about integration of your masculine and your feminine.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so you're absolutely welcome to
Thank
join
you.
if you want to have a look around.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I just had a question for you guys.
Sure.
Someone said there's a clothing swap nearby. Do you guys know?
I do not know
No?
about it. No, but my best guess would be the
Other side
vintage.
vintage?
Other side vintage. If you go on this road right here, straight down to the right, that's probably. You're very welcome.
Thank you guys. Sorry
Thank
for this
you.
time.
If y'all are looking for
No,
something
no,
to
it's
do
fine.
at 5, we have a Sit Paint Zen. It's a paint party.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, step by step, and it's only $20. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So doesn't quite say what it's supposed to, but that's okay. We'll get it next time. So today we are coming together, and we're going to be discussing the sacred union within the divine masculine and feminine dancing in balance. The masculine that protects, provides, and acts. The feminine with nurturing, who nurtures, receives, and creates, and connect with a large connection to that intuitive side of yourself. When these focuses are and forces are in harmony, we walk with a wholeness embodied within ourselves. This is not about gender, and it's only about a sacred energy that is alive in all beings. It is an aspect of all beings. And so today we're talking about a little bit more about focusing on that integration of those two aspects of yourself. All right, so before we move forward with this, I do want to go ahead and begin today with some nostril breath work. It's a little bit different than what we do normally. And so it's actually called Nadi Shodhana. So the way that we do it, it's going to help to balance the left and the right quadrants of our brain, and through this breath work. And it also helps to balance out that masculine and your feminine, so the sacral and the solar plexus chakras. All right, so how we are going to do this breath work is as we're breathing in, we're going to hold the left side of our nostril while breathing into the right. So you're just feeling that air and that warmth and everything coming up through that right side. And then let go, and then breathe out both sides. Next side. And just keep swapping back and forth. And as you're pulling in that energy, just kind of feel the balance of both sides as you're blowing back out. So as you're breathing back out, you're gonna feel almost, and it could be whichever one you want. Don't have to be specific, but masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine. So we are connecting with the fact that, yes, they might have two separate names, different attributes, but they're both a part of our breath, of our work, of the purpose, our divine purpose, and what we are achieving here. So let's all do it together a little bit more. First, before we go back into it this time, I want you to just breathe out all your stale, old air and energy. Just get everything all forced out. And then you can do that a few times. And just feel that energy connecting with you. Feel the masculine and the feminine. You can even do it again, and this time visualize maybe as you're breathing in and then out. You can envision the masculine and the feminine kind of joining hands and connecting back Whatever works for you. The point is here to mentally, physically, energetically put some awareness and attention on the fact that we are balancing and calling in that balance between our masculine and our feminine. And it's so very important. And so what we're doing too with the nostril closing is you are kind of activating one side of the brain more than the other, and then you're doing the other. And then as you're breathing out, you're telling them to be imbalanced. So on the physical note, that's kind of what your action is doing, which is going to help our mental reaction of that energy that we're going after, which is the balancing of the masculine and feminine energies. All right, so since we're already right here, I feel like we should just keep moving on into the meditation. And today I would like to call Quinn up and have you lead us in our body scan meditation. And so the point behind this is to connect all the energy points, all of our chakras up. Be aware of the energy being pulled up with your breath, with your intention, all the way to the crown and out. So if you want to stand in the middle there.
Okay. So, I don't know if you want me to go over the infinity of breath again.
Yeah, you sure can, whatever you decide.
For the infinity breath first, like we did before, we breathe out all that stale air. That's the bottom loop of the infinity of the 8. So it's, and then we hold in our center, and then breathe in that creator light that's all around us as that top loop, and hold, and then just circulate like that. And then just find your own rhythm, and no need to follow along with me, but just find your own rhythm with it. Now for the body scan meditation, just sort of feel, as you're doing that, feel the energy rising up through your feet, through your root chakra, and rising up and up through your sacral, and then your solar plexus, slowly moving up through your heart, up through your throat. Finally, it reaches higher up to your third eye chakra, and then after it reaches your third eye, it's moving up through your crown chakra and out.
Awesome. Thank you, Quinn.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it. In the future, when you're doing meditations, breath work, and you want something that can help you, this chant can help you to connect with your higher self, can connect with other divine unseen beings that can help you in your process of your meditation, help guide and deliver divine guidance for you. So this is something that I really do appreciate and love, so I share it. Namaste. So I want to share something with you that can help you during meditations, breath work, mindfulness, just to still your mind, quiet yourself, and allow more access to hear your higher self.
Om Yogena Tutasha Bodhenu Vatra Padam Travashadikena Yopakuratim Rabadam Bodhidam Patanjaliyam.
Awesome. Okay, so now let's get back to the divine feminine and the divine masculine and the integration between the two. So no matter how you're born, whether you're a male or a female in the physical body, the energetic signature of the masculine and feminine transcends the physical body. It's not just a physical body, it's attributes and different energy. And so when you can think about it like that, we're not saying, be this, and when you're this, it is a part of who you are. So that balance is really important for our authentic true self. To forego the masculine, if you're a feminine, you could be foregoing certain things. Like, do you want to name a few, Quinn?
So like for masculine energy, like taking up leadership positions, or innovating in a field, or like being proactive and active in your life.
Awesome.
Those are some examples.
Yes, and Miguel, would you like to tell us a couple qualities that align with the feminine energy?
Well, probably like positive relationships, probably a loving, caring outlook on life, just being a good positive role model, I would say.
Yes, perfect. And then with that comes compassion as well, a connection to your intuition, a real strong connection with your intuition, nurturing, and then back to what you said, Quinn, about the masculine. Also, you got like that willpower to set a plan in motion and see it all the way through. Hi, y'all. Welcome in.
Hi.
We're having temple service right now, and I just want to let you know we are streaming live. You're welcome to join. And you're also welcome to walk past if you want to check out other things in the temple. So, feel free. Just depends on what you're comfortable with. Yes. So yes, both of you were very much on point. And it doesn't mean that one can't do the other. The point is connecting back with all of these energies and claiming them all as yours to use in your kind of toolkit, if you will, of your authentic true energy. So just because you're born a male or a female doesn't mean you have to totally forego all these attributes and qualities that are part of who we are. So doing a little kind of inventory, where am I kind of on that spectrum? How much of my masculine as a feminine do I use and integrate to my life and my actions within so? And then vice versa, the other way. As a male, how much of your feminine attributes and energies do you allow yourself to connect with and be a part of your day-to-day now? So these are questions that we all have to ask ourselves and see kind of where are you at, because you may find that you may be using a lot more of them and just not giving yourself the credit, right? You may actually resonate with, okay, this is, what I am, who I am, but then if you really take a bigger, stronger look at your actual true life and your energy and your actions, you may find that sometimes here and there you find, oh yeah, I am doing this, I am doing that. So putting a little more energy and focus on keeping a balance there. It's like, for instance, to say if you're driving a car and you're not that great at directions or whatever, you might want to use the GPS, right? Because you've got some directions there. And then vice versa, if you're somebody, can you give me an example of something that can be a good way to explain it, Quinn?
Something that comes to mind with masculine and feminine is speaking and listening. Listening is a more feminine trait, and speaking is a masculine trait. And it's something that we do in everyday life. Some people do more listening than they do speaking their truth or speaking like what's on their mind. Some people do more of speaking and not as much in the way of listening to what others have to say. So, like, maintaining that kind of balance, it's helpful to you in your life so that you're able to listen to others when you need to hear what they have to say, and to speak your truth when you really have something that's weighing on you.
Awesome. Yes, that was a great example, and that is a big one too. And actually, in the definition of it as well, you're 100% right, because that is the energy, the listening for the feminine and the speaking for the masculine. So perfect example. Thank you so much. Awesome. So with that being said, without getting too heavy in it, the point of today is just to remind everyone that no matter, and this has nothing to do with, like I said, the physical body and how you present yourself physically. This has to do with using your skills that you are birthrighted with. Part of what makes you up is that balance. And so foregoing that balance is kind of what can cause us some of our chaos, or feeling unprepared in situations, or feeling guilty about being assertive if you're feminine and you stand up for yourself and then you feel guilty about it. That's a clear sign that you're not fully integrated and connected with your other half, your other divine half. And then the same opposite goes for the masculine. If you find that you're great at making plans and this, that, and the other, but you don't have a real strong connection to your intuitive side, everything's all logical, that's a good indicator that you're not really that connected with your feminine. And so all you have to do is just intentionally be aware, and then just to wait, and the divine will show you opportunities to where you can start to integrate and do some work and try to integrate the other part of your energy that you may not be as aligned with, for that balance, because that balance is so very important. So and when we do the podcast after temple service today, we're going to get a little bit more into that as we're all talking. I'm sure that everybody's got a little bit more to say about that, because it is a big topic. So we're going to leave it right there for now, but I did want to make it very important to share that information with everyone today, because it is just such a big thing. And of course it builds from there, but that is the premise of it, that masculine feminine balance is something that we all have a balance of, and to start unabashedly using both aspects of yourself and interplay them for whatever situation is necessary, because sometimes you'll be more benefited by approaching a situation with a feminine energy versus the masculine, and sometimes it will be better to use your masculine energy versus the feminine in a situation. So, and that's all discerned by you in the moment when you do start to tap into that inner knowing and that guidance system that can help you to know, when and everything. But first starting point is start doing some exercises, some different things that can help you be more aware of how often you're using your opposite energy, and then doing some things that can help you to grow that for yourself. So I do want to invite everyone in alignment with what we're talking about, something that you could do throughout the week or today after temple service if you want to do it, or you can just sit on it and think about it for a minute. But I would invite you to journal, or maybe talk with a friend, or share your insight, or just to yourself, whatever works for you. But ask yourself this question: when do I lead with my masculine? When do I lead with my feminine? What is seeking balance? So when you put your awareness and your attention on both of those questions, after you answer both of those questions for yourself, the third one should be very apparent to you, where you're needing to put your focus on a little bit more. So it could be as simple as that, just asking yourself a couple questions, doing a little discernment, and seeing what your higher self, your intuition brings to you when you're in this journaling moment, or you're, pondering on it for a bit. And then as far as any mindfulness homework for this week goes, I would like to invite everyone to do a daily practice of noticing when your masculine and your feminine shows up in your day-to-day actions. So take a notice. Oh, I just did that. Seems to be a feminine energy. Seems to be a masculine energy. Just this week, try to keep tabs on what you're showing yourself. So being aware, making some notes in your journal, keeping up with that is really great. So, and then whenever you realize, if you're in the moment, you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm actually in my feminine energy right now, or my masculine energy right now, kind of breathe into that. And feel the difference, if there's any feelings within yourself that are different from when you're in your feminine energy, and just kind of like almost like be a little detective about you. We're always fine with looking outside of ourselves and being a little detective of this and that and the other. Now we're talking about bringing that within and really knowing ourselves in a way that we can take this another step. So seek and you shall find, to me, equals know thyself. That's where it starts. So I'm inviting everyone to take that time to really get to know yourself, and it's going to be divinely guided in a step-by-step every moment when something comes up, being aware and looking into it a little bit better for yourself. You're going to get a lot of information from that. Alright, so this is the part of temple service where I offer for everyone to, if you want to have your mind's eye, your thoughts, your heart on something specific that maybe you want to draw into yourself, or that an energy that you want to release from yourself. And I'm going to go around and do a little Reiki attunement for everyone, as well as here on the live for everyone there at home joining us. And so in your mind's eye, you just want to visualize this thing. If it's something that you want to see, leave you and that you're releasing, I want you to just visualize like a smoke almost, if you will, kind of burning it up and the smoke taking it off. And then in the opposite way, if it's something that you want to bring into yourself, then just visualize this creator light coming into you, bringing that energy. So today our Reiki healing of the mind is about the commitment to a joyful life.
Commit to a joyful life. Release any old emotions, thinking patterns, or habits that are potentially holding you back, including any idea that life is a struggle, and commit to a life filled with joy and ease instead. Please join the channel and become part of the family. Like and share so others can get in on Reiki of the mind. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, I talk to people all the time about the stories that we tell ourselves. If you really want to make a change from where you were in life, your energy and your cycles, you can't continue to tell yourself the same story, because that is a tether that's keeping you in that energy. So in order to fully make the change, you really do have to see things from a higher perspective, see how all that happened was all a guide to help you to make this change and shift. So you got to rewrite the story. You can't continually go around telling other people, oh, this always happens, da, da, da. You have to start speaking that new truth for it to come in, because these words are magic. The thoughts we have are just creating our reality. So we have to cease telling ourselves the lowly story that we don't want to repeat and move forward with the one that we do. These are some services that we have here at the temple that we can help with you in your path. So we have many services and workshops, classes, things like that that can help. Awesome. All right, so I just want to say thank you everyone for joining today. If you are on the live, will you please subscribe and hit the notification bell so next time we go live, you'll be notified and you can keep up with us and be a part of our community that's supporting each other in our walks and our specific paths. So love you all. Namaste. If you want to stick around, we're about to start the podcast, Harmony for Humanity, where we talk about integration from last week to this week and any perspectives, personal perspectives from everyone that came today for temple service. So if you want to stick around, we're just going to give us a few minutes. We're just going to flip the camera for now. And after that, we'll get started. All right. Go time. Let's see how once y'all get the chair set up, then I'll plug everything back in and readjust so that it's in there really good.
A little more to say.
Yes, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Here with us. Tim's in there real good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Namaste,
Namaste.
Satnam, and Flello.
Hello.
Welcome to Harmony for Humanity podcast. We are coming to you live from Lotus Flower Wellness Temple, and we just had temple service, and so we do a podcast after temple service to share personal perspectives and integration from last week to this week. I'm Erin.
I'm Quinn.
Miguel.
All right, awesome. So we just had temple service today, and we discussed the balancing of and the integration of the masculine and the feminine within each one of us. And so right away, I just want to go ahead and turn it over to Quinn and see. Let me pull these out a little bit better. See what you have to say, your personal perspective on what we discussed today.
Well, I definitely feel like in our society we can kind of pigeonhole ourselves into one or the other. Whether that be through just like being our birth identity or an identity we come upon later in life, we often come to over-identify or over-correct to be more masculine or more feminine. When in reality, maintaining that balance is what is best for us, so that we can be able to
Go ahead.
make the best of any situation that we find ourselves in.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, for sure. We that is a part of what the other side of it looks like. Not integrating at all or overdoing it. So yeah, there is a balance even to the balancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. And Miguel, what is your personal perspective on today's sermon?
Well, I definitely agree. It's like there's different aspects that that seem more feminine or masculine, and obviously you need the whole cycle for it to have a healthy life, healthy feelings, healthy relationships in particular, and like in the Bible, in Genesis when they talked about Adam and Eve, God talked about Adam being lonely and not being complete, and so he needed his wife Eve in order to basically be complete, to be one, and whether you take that physically or more metaphorically, still it's that early in the Bible it talks about an importance on the aspect of masculine and feminine in our life. So because we're not complete until we fulfill that the masculine and feminine sides of us, whether or not it's in a relationship, what I'm saying, a husband and a wife, or it's within yourself, like just being being kind and generous, being showing compassion and love, the more feminine side, and then the more masculine side being more a leader, being, uh, a teacher, being someone who can uh, do things like with their hands or whatever, like being more practical versus, being more emotional. And so, but we all as humans have to keep that harmony at all times, because if we allow ourselves to lean more on one side versus the other, now we don't have that harmony within ourselves, and it can cause a lot of chaos in our mind and in our body,
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yin and yang. That's that encompasses the feminine and the masculine. So and many and many of these various religions, that's another common theme is masculine and feminine. And so that's definitely something that is important for all of us. Otherwise, we'll become in discord and disharmony with ourselves and never find any true peace.
Right. Like, something I actually remember you telling someone during a reading at one point. You were talking about finding the twin flame, or finding someone's twin flame. And that what leads to you through your lifetimes eventually finding that person is becoming whole within yourself. Like becoming complete within yourself, and a part of that is balancing your masculine and your feminine. A part of a really healthy relationship is that while you do appreciate the other's company, you don't need them. Like, you don't have to cling to them, to constantly be with them, to constantly, wonder about, like, where they are, what they're doing. And at the same time, like, you do appreciate that time that you spend with them. And you are able to fully immerse yourself in that moment, right? So, like, you need to have that balance of I and we to be able to go out into the world and to be satisfied with who you are out in the world, as well as who you are in a relationship. So, it's just that balance of the sacred feminine and the divine masculine that really, it brings us better relationships as well. Even if we're not like fully complete in ourselves yet, as we grow in that way, we attract better people. We attract people who are aligned to our wavelengths, and people who are less aligned to that wavelength do fall away. We lose relationships as well, but it's ultimately for our own growth and for our own highest good.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, gentlemen. I really appreciate it, and I know that the people that join and subscribe to us and everything, I just really feel like the things that we share, our integration, our personal perspective that we share, I think that that's a really helpful thing to the audience and to the people that are connecting, to be able to see, these are not just words, but things that you can actually put a little bit of energy and attention on, a little bit of discipline, and actually make some real gain in your transformation. Just to have some information and not do anything with it and put some action behind it, it really just sums it up that it might as well be a piece of paper sitting on your floor by your trash can if you're not actually connecting and doing what you can to integrate this into your life. So then the steps kind of go, first you have information, then you have a resonation with it, and then you have an experience, and then you get to the wisdom aspect of when you've actually integrated this information that you resonated with, and then you bring it about in such a way into your life and your experience that then it draws in experiences that kind of go hand in hand with that, and it's very confirming for you. And so then now you have had a physical experience that goes along with it. Now it's a truth for you.
Right.
It's a wisdom for you. So that goes along with anything, no matter whether it's spirituality, no matter whether it's, anything, whatever it is, that is kind of the recipe for getting to that wisdom aspect. Other than that, information can just be, really just words on a paper,
Right.
or whatnot. So the truth behind it is anything that you're wanting to achieve, you have to start in the action of it before you're going to actually get that kind of wisdom and experience of it. So you have to first align with it. But I would not suggest doing that with anything that doesn't resonate in your soul.
Yeah.
And that's kind of your guide. Oh, I don't know why this has some truth and validity from my soul. Let me look more into this. And then as you collect more information, you start to discern about it. You start to find more things that you're like, oh, yes. And maybe you've then are able to go back and say, oh, yeah, I do remember this one time that this, that, and the other. Whatever it might be, gets you one more step closer to starting to align with the energy of that thing's vibration. And then, therefore, you're able to then pull in experiences that are going to back it up. And
Right.
that's when you will shift into that is a wisdom, and it becomes a part of your light signature then.
Yeah, and just to give a bit of a counter example, like something that happens a lot growing up is peer pressure. We have certain people around us, sometimes of like lower vibrations, and they often will pressure us to, not always engage in like some kind of an illegal activity, but to take part in something that maybe we don't align with as much. Like if you've ever had a friend who's really into basketball and he wants to play basketball with you, but you're not really into basketball, but still you want to be friends with this person, right? Like you want to compromise with them, and like, it doesn't align with you to do it, but eventually like it gets to the point where like every time you go over to see this friend, you play basketball with them. And it's not something that's really in your truth. It's not something that's really true to you. But living in that way, you're sort of telling yourself a lie. You're like, I can put up with this, and over time, that sort of lie just kind of builds on you. It continues to like to subtly harm you until eventually you end up having an argument with that friend for seemingly no reason. Like, it comes out of nowhere. You suddenly just get really upset and you start, getting snippy about certain things, and like your friend doesn't know what's going on, all that sort of stuff, and suddenly you have a falling out. And that falling out leads to like, okay, you're not playing basketball anymore. But like, as you start to discover yourself again, to pick up pieces, eventually maybe you're into art, right? And you have some artist who comes into your life who, really helps you to engage with that part of your life. So like, it's even when when you're out of resonation with that, what tends to happen is, the universe acts in alignment for you. When you need a hard lesson and you're not moving towards it, oftentimes you'll come to that kind of situation where things will blow up and you'll have to reassess and realign.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So you're almost doing yourself a favor by opening that door to that thing that you really want by closing the one down on the one that you were doing just to appease someone else, or whatnot. And while it is, you know, one thing to have a friend and do some things with them that maybe you don't necessarily like as much, are they doing that thing for you that you like? Is there a fair exchange of energies there? So it really comes down to, that's for you to decide, for you to discern. But if you're just always going to play basketball with this person and you really don't like it, and there's no like fair exchange, okay, I'll play basketball with you this afternoon, you go do art with me tonight. Now that's more fair, right?
Yeah.
In alignment. So it's not like you're just taking what means something to you and being like throwing it down on the ground so that you can be in alignment with what this other person likes. That's not fair for you. So that's not honoring your boundaries. That's not honoring your growth. That's not honoring your truth. So we can find that place somewhere in the middle, that happy medium, right?
Yeah.
And then, but if you absolutely hate playing basketball, don't do it.
Right.
Not even for, your most favorite person in the world. Because at the end of the day, if that is not you, then you're not really supporting yourself in the way that you could, and you're actually stifling your energy a bit. Because when we do put that love back into ourselves, that's when it's able to fully come out for other people.
Right.
So
and even to give like a personal example, I, growing up, have long had a fascination with with spirit and the occult, and like ghosts and different things relating to that. And I came to have a group of friends who were very mocking of those kinds of ideas, And so, fitting in, I would join in laughing at that and going through a bookstore, looking at the spiritual book section and, pulling out something that sounded weird from a, from a conventional sense, from a, what your ordinary person might find odd as a book title, and then we'd laugh about it, or we'd say, hey, how ridiculous. But really, once that group of friends fell away, I found myself a lot more than whenever I was with them. And I do appreciate the experiences I had with them. I had good relationships with these people. But at the same time, I recognized that entire time I was denying a big part of myself just to be a part of this group.
yes, and that happens to a lot of people. And then, happy to say that sometimes people are like, okay, now I've had enough of that. I see now what I'm actually doing is I'm foregoing myself in order to please these people. So, and then some people may never stop doing it, or at least not in this lifetime. So, I'm glad to see that you made a conscious choice to say, you know what? Okay, now I see that when I'm okay with not just, playing the reindeer games, just to be, fit in or whatever, when I kind of strike it out on my own, wow, now I find that I've connected with new friends that have the same or similar interest, and our focus is on a certain similar thing. But as long as you keep yourself accepting the cycle of friendships that don't align with your truth, you're not opening that door for the new ones.
Yeah.
So that's great that you made that choice.
Yeah, and I will say, for me, it didn't initially come about as a choice, right? it came about as a falling out, like, suddenly. Like, I had a friend who just decided to cut off everybody in their life, and with no real explanation, just, like, initially saying they wanted time, and then just, like, eventually not ever getting back to us. And but as that time went on, I took that time to really discover who I was, right?
So
Outside
divine
of that.
intervention,
Yeah.
basically, it comes down to on that one. Since
Like, yeah. So even if you don't act, sometimes things will happen that will put you in a position to be able to find yourself and to be able to bring yourself into a better position in life. I think that's also a good way to look at, like, whenever we have a tragedy happen in our lives, whenever we have something that we don't understand why it happened, that, like, suddenly something is different, something has changed, and we don't know how to reconcile it, we can start to look within ourselves and see, okay, is there something that I haven't been addressing? Is there somewhere I can grow from this? Is there, like, some kind of a hint or a universal nugget of truth that, like, this whole situation is showing to me right now?
yes, yes, it's really important to have that dialogue with ourselves. Um, the book of me, right? The book of you, to keep up with some of these things that you've been shown, that you've shown yourself, that you've been trying to show yourself. And to actually have a good look at it, we can learn a whole lot about where our path is guiding us. So thank you so much for sharing. And Miguel, do you have anything that you would like to add today?
Well, I can say, from the opposite standpoint, that sometimes being with people that have too much in common, can be pretty destructive, because, I mean, I know from personal experience that most of my friends, I had a lot in common with, and those were some of the most toxic people that I was around. And so, because you're all like-minded in such a way that you have similar strengths but also similar weaknesses, and so you're not really learning outside of that circle, because you don't have anybody to really to have a reference to, because so a lot of my friends in the past, even though, yes, we were pretty close, and we had a lot in common, that in itself, they were some of the ones that led me to a lot of self-destructive behavior, because I didn't have that feminine and masculine balance. I didn't have that yin and yang in my life, and because I didn't have various people outside of my small group of friends that I could learn from, and so it caused a lot of chaos in my life, and because you need that reference, like, not everybody's the same, but when you stick to everybody who is similar, now it's like, okay, well, if I have a problem, I don't know who to go to, because they might all have the same kind of problem, and they don't know how to deal with their problems. And so it's good to be with people there. It's okay to be similar, have people, with similar interests, but your strength should be able to uphold somebody else's weakness, and vice versa. The whole point of yin and yang, like, I might be good at fixing stuff, and my friend might be good at cooking stuff or whatever, and so, but if we're both good at fixing things, then okay, well, we can't help each other out, because I can fix my own problem, he can fix his own problem, but now, we're going out, to hang out at each other's house, and, we're trying to find, get something to eat. Well, okay, now what are we gonna do? You know, I mean, maybe order something, but you know, that's just an example. It there has to be that compliment. You know, in any relationship, friendships, romantic relationships, family, because if both of you, like for example, if both of you are very prideful, well, neither of you are really going to learn anything because you're going to think you're right, and the other person's going to think they're right, and every time you get in an argument, then you know it's just not going to be healthy. So you're going to have somebody who's a good listener versus somebody who's a good speaker, or vice versa. Or you know, both of you might be good at both. But if you have two people who are both talkers, both of you are just going to argue. Or if both of you are listeners, then you know it's just going to be an emotional cold war. You know, just like everyone's, they're just going to be all standoffish about it. And so we have to be able to complement each other's weaknesses and capitalize on our strengths in a way that we can help each other out while also being helped. Because as humans, we don't know everything, so at some point we're going to have to learn something. And we can't do everything, so at some point we're going to need help from somebody. And so, if we all feel like we know all the same stuff, and we feel like we all know and do the same stuff, then now we're not complimenting each other. And then we put our masculine and our feminine qualities out of balance. And so, you know, I think it's always good to broaden your horizons and, you know, always be willing to learn and be willing to help and vice versa, you know.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree that, like, you know, and also, like, when you have that kind of group of similar friends, you can end up in a kind of echo chamber in a way. Like, you have the same ideas flowing back and forth, and so, like, it makes it harder to understand people who don't align with those ideas. You know, there are certain people, there's a certain dynamic of people, like, where I've recognized that some people grow up understanding themselves through others, and other people grow up understanding others through themselves. And so, like, people who grow up understanding others through themselves, they recognize how they feel about things, and they project that onto other people. And they're like, oh, you know, if this person is, or I don't understand why this person is upset about this. I wouldn't be upset about this, you know? Like, this wouldn't upset me. They're just being unreasonable, you know, or they just don't make sense. Whereas, like, some other people are more like they understand themselves through others. So, like, they, through what other people say about them, through how other people view them, that's how they recognize who they are. So they crave that kind of acknowledgement by others. And they try to act in ways that that please other people, you know. And so there's, even in that, there's a sort of balance to be found between understanding who you are and also understanding, like, okay, understanding others and being able to make compromises and being able to recognize that not everybody thinks about things the same way that you do. You know, so it's important to have that variety in life. It's important to interact with a number of different people because it gives you a world of, like, different understanding and viewpoints that you can recognize within yourself and within others. You know?
Yes.
But yeah, like, definitely the balancing of masculine and feminine feels like a good start for a lot of that stuff.
Yes. Yes, most definitely. And thank you so much for sharing, gentlemen. I just want to thank everybody too that's joining on the live. Thank you. Please consider yourself a part of the community. Please consider yourself loved and accepted and received. And if you would like to subscribe and hit the notification bell, we would absolutely love that. And just keep coming back. We're here for you. And so every Sunday at 2:30 we do temple service, and then we follow up with the podcast, Harmony for Humanity. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Tell some friends. We're growing, and we want to just invite everyone to come in and share this experience and journey with us. So anything else in closing, guys?
I think I've covered all I
All right.
wanted to talk about.
Awesome. Miguel?
No, I think we covered a lot of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we will see you next time. Namaste.
Namaste.
Satnam.
Satnam.
And Flow.
And Flow.
Yay! Still recording. I just want to look at the messages real quick. Super video. Thank you. Thank you, everyone that left kind comments, nice comments to us. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.